This is Danny Flexon here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by top trainer Billy Nelson. Billy, how you doing, mate?
I'm fine, Danny. Fine, thanks.
Glad to hear it. We're just 2 weeks away now from the latest outing for the big man, Martin Bakole, out in Poland this time. Somewhere that he's got fond memories of, I would imagine. How did this come about, this fight?
Well, I've no idea because initially I think we were going to be fighting in England, but I think that date got cancelled, and I think they've took on the Alan Babbage fight and managed to secure some fighters on their shows and some good English fighters as well as Martin Bakole on the show as well.
Oh, good
So
stuff.
it doesn't really matter. Just a boxing ring, Danny. You still need to go in and do what you're best at.
Must have fond memories of Poland, though.
Oh, we went over there at 3 weeks' notice and stopped Marius Wax, something that Dylan White's failed to do, and Huey and Dylan White. So, he boxed particularly well that night. To be fair, he boxed really well.
What do you make of it? Obviously, Martin's not been with Boxer for long. They've already got him out on this show. He did punditry for the show out in France as well, which was a real big step forward for him as well. You must be pretty happy with how things are going.
Well, that's one of the main reasons we went to Sky. Not only was the deal financially excellent for Martin, but the platform that you've got is phenomenal. You know, just doing a punditry for that Tony Yoka fight was magic for him. You know, it raises his profile somewhat.
What did you make of his performance as a pundit?
I don't know, right? I mean, listen, he's a English guy. You know, one thing you get for the big man is it just tells you the truth, doesn't it? It doesn't really, you know, he's no money. He's not sneaky enough to try and hide something. He just tell you the way it is.
Were you a bit disappointed at Yoka's performance and the fact that he didn't get the job done? Because obviously Martin, it was a big deal when Martin beat him. Now he's been beaten by someone else. Or do you look at it like Martin maybe ruined him?
I think Martin has ruined him. And if you look back at Martin's since I've had him, he's had about 4 or 5 guys whose last fights have been against Martin.
Hmm.
So it wouldn't surprise me if Martin has ruined Tony Yoka.
And what's the plan going forward for Martin? Obviously, you want to win this fight in Poland, and it looks, you know, Martin's a big favourite. Let's not beat around the bush. But what about after that? He's WBA #1. Is that the next thing?
Well, he's #2 now because somehow Deontay White fightings went not only in that, it done it in the WBC as well. It's amazing achievement. You don't fight and you get raised higher in the rankings. And I like to know how you get that. Anyway, he's. I would like to think that we'll fight a minimum of a final eliminator for the world title after this fight. But this is a fight that it's like a quarter final of the cup for us on a week on Saturday. We win the quarter final, we fight a final eliminator, and then nobody can avoid us unless they give up a title.
And you mentioned there about Deontay Wilder being parachuted in above Martin in both WBC and WBA rankings. You must have been pretty frustrated, angry when you found out. Have you been given any explanation from the sanctioning bodies as to why they've done this?
None whatsoever, no, none whatsoever. And, it's quite frustrating, you know, because he's done nothing. He's done nothing. He's beat Hellenius with a punch that never landed. Well, did it land? I'm not sure. But he's done nothing to justify going above Martin there. And also, you need to remember, it also happened with the WBC. So there must be something underlying. Something must be happening somewhere.
Well,
I see Wilder's coaches came out and said that something big happening for him, and it's going to be announced shortly. So we'll soon find out.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of talk. I know Frank Warren said this as well, that they expect Usyk to potentially fight Wilder out in Saudi Arabia in the summer. I don't know how close that is to being made, but I suppose that would, explain why he's been parachuted in the WBA at least.
Well, I think that's what's going to happen. So why not make Daniel versus Martin Bakole for the regular title? The two of them are, I mean, is Daniel fit enough to actually fight us? We don't know but if he is, they've said he's fit. So fight Martin Bakole. Keeps the two of them active and earning.
What did you make of Daniel's last fight? Obviously, he picked up that injury against Kevin Lorena, was dropped as well. Not his best performance, but did show grit to get off the canvas and win the fight.
I mean, fullest respect, and I know we get beat with a cruiserweight, but that's what it is. Martin sparred with Lorena for that fight, and he done exactly what Martin done. Daniel, with 20-ounce glove.
Yeah, I mean, when you saw Lorena sparring Martin in the build-up, did you have any inkling that he might be able to give Dubois such a hard time?
No.
None
whatsoever. But I've seen Daniel like a rabbit in the headlights against Martin, so he knows what he's going to expect. That's why they'll avoid us like the plague.
And that was in sparring. How long ago was that?
3 years ago.
Is that one
3
of those
years
things,
ago during COVID?
Is that one of those things where you kind of panic under pressure as a fighter? Is that one of those things that can be trained out of you, or is it once it's there, it's there?
Daniel knows what happened to him,
and that you can't change that.
Very unlikely. No, I mean, Shane McGuigan's father was there when it happened, and he was jumping through hoops when it happened. So he knows as well. They know. And be honest with you, Martin was 75% against Daniel at that time.
Yeah.
Daniel's improved. He has improved. I mean, he's improved. But Martin, he'll never, ever beat Martin Bakole. Never.
And talking of heavyweights that you'd be happy for Martin to fight, we've talked in the build-up to Anthony Joshua against Jermaine Franklin, and you were keen for Martin to get in there with AJ. You knew it was very unlikely to happen. What did you make of Joshua's performance ultimately against Franklin?
It wasn't his best performance, but I'm glad he done 12 rounds, and hopefully it sorts a few demons out in his head. But now he's indicating that he's not fighting until December. Damaged nose, I hear.
Yeah, well, apparently it was damaged in the lead up to the fight, and then obviously reopened almost as soon as he got hit.
But to say straight away that it's December, that's kind of.
Yeah, I mean, would you say at this stage, what does he need more, I guess? Activity in the ring or more time with his new trainer in the gym, or both?
What time with his new trainer?
With Derek James. Like, does he need more? He needs more time with him.
Oh, he's a great trainer. He'll see. After something to be sorted, he'll sort it out. And hopefully he'll return a better fighter. If the demons can be sorted.
If Martin had been in there with Joshua on the night rather than Jermaine Franklin, how would it have gone?
He'd have been stopped. Martin would have jumped up. But you need to remember, with the fullest respect, Jermaine Franklin hasn't got the physical attributes that Martin Bakole. He was much smaller.
But you know what you said about Dubois and panicking and not being able to get out of that? Is there a similar thing with Joshua in that he fights in a certain way now? He doesn't kind of let his hands go anymore. That's been the big criticism.
That is the point that everybody is making. It's not a nice terminology, but it's like dartitis, or he can't let go of the trigger as quickly as he used to. I mean, it was like a scenario. It's very similar. My wee pal Kevin Mitchell. We sparred Kevin Mitchell down in London with Ricky Burns maybe a year before they fought in Glasgow.
I was there.
Oh, were you?
Is it the TKO gym?
Oh, well, you seen the spar. That's up with that doesn't leave you spars like that. You know how good this guy is with big gloves on and a head guard. You ain't looking forward to fighting him with half the size of gloves on and no head guard. No matter who you are, I don't care who you are.
So with Joshua and this kind of reluctance to pull the trigger, because you said Derek James, if it needs sorting, he'll sort it. Is that solvable? Is that something he can change?
It can change it in the ring, but whether he can change it up here, that's down to an individual. He's a boxing coach, not a psychologist.
Yeah, true. Although I've often heard it said boxing coaches are expected to be at least part psychologist.
Psychologists, social worker, marriage guidance counsellors, financial advisors.
Well, you're already a social worker, so you know you've got a bit of an advantage there.
There's a lot more to it than meets the eye, I'll tell you.
Tell us about some of the other guys you got in the gym at the moment.
I've got 3 boys fighting on Friday for the first time for me, and Nicky Campbell's having his heavyweight first fight for me. His original opponent pulled out this morning. They're looking for somebody now. There's Ryan Clark, who's 21 today. He's just came into my house there now. He's 21 today, so hopefully he'll get a good belated birthday present in his debut win. And I've got just a few yards away from me, Lewis Crocker, who's come over from Northern Ireland to get trained with. He's been officially voted this morning the ugliest guy in the gym.
Who was the previous number one?
But also,
has he knocked you off the top spot? That's what I'm asking.
I've done a wee bit. I believe I'm in the older category, age category. I've only got John. He's uglier than sin. All right there. No, look at this idea. Lewis Crocker is an exceptional talent, very hard puncher, and I'm really looking forward to the journey with him.
Yeah, tell us how that came about, you working with Lewis, because as you say, yeah, great talent, unbeaten, high up in the rankings as well.
Well, his manager and I were speaking, and he asked me the possibility of Lewis coming over to Green Girls if the opportunity arose, and his manager put it to him, and he was very keen coming over, and he's been here now a couple of weeks and thoroughly enjoying it. He's fighting on Friday, and then he'll be fighting on the May the 27th show in Belfast on Mick Conlon's undercard.
Oh, brilliant!
So get a few quick fights out, and then he will definitely win titles this year.
What excites you the most about him?
His style. Love that style. Love the style. Aggressive, pressure, educated pressure. Just love it. Love it. His shot selection is very good, but I believe I can improve that for him.
And who would you be targeting at his weight class when it is time to challenge for titles?
Anybody that's 10 stone 7. In Britain, anybody. No bother. He'll win the British title at Cantor.
And then move on from there as a springboard. Because I guess everyone's saying June is looking likely now for Spence and Crawford. Once that's done, you would expect maybe Spence to move up in weight. Crawford could even start thinking about retirement, given his age. It seems wide open at world level welterweight.
Well, it will be, but if we win the British title this year, if he wins the British title this year, you'd like him to have one or two defences in an international fight and then a world title fight. So you're looking at next summer, end of next summer. I would like to think he could get a world title opportunity of some description.
And even domestically, you've got guys like Conor Benn, of course. I know Josh Kelly's moved up, hasn't he? But there's still plenty of good welterweights in the UK as well. And Northern Ireland, of course.
Conor Benn's a good fighter. Conor's a good fighter. Well, Northern Ireland is, but Danny. Conor Benn, good fighter. Of course he's a good fighter. I believe this man's got much too much for him. He hits too hard for Conor Benn.
Very exciting prospect to work with as well. You've gone from just working with Martin. Your gym's really busy again now. How does it feel to have a busy gym once again?
Well, I've got enough in the gym now. I've got 3 top prospects in Sultan, Martin, and Ian Lewis, and I've got 3 kind of novices. 2-0, a boy making his debut on Friday, and Nicky Campbell. So that'll do. And I brought in my old assistant trainers in help me out as well with the workload. So
what's it like working with someone like Big Nick? Because he's obviously Scottish amateur champion, and but from a rugby background, hasn't had a lot of experience. So a bit different maybe from some of the other guys in the gym. What's that sort of challenge?
Well, actually, he's got more experience than the other two novices, so he has at least he did have some form of amateur career. Fought for Scotland round the world a wee bit, but like you say, he's a novice in the professional ranks, and he's getting a lot of sparring with Martin Bakole, and that can only bring you on leaps and bounds. He has improved, but he's he's one of these guys that, in my opinion, he's a confidence fighter. The more confident he get, the better he'll possibly become.
So working your way to that British title for him also?
That would be a good level for him to reach high.
Yeah, because Wardley's obviously the champion at the moment. We saw him out at the weekend, not defending the title, but against international opposition. Good fighter, but maybe similar to Nick, maybe still a bit raw.
Aye, I mean, he's had very carefully selected opponents. I think Fraser Clark gives him a very, very good fight. I think he beats Sol. It'd be a good fight anyway, but I would favour Fabio to beat Solomon. Who's the other guy? Oh, David Abiyan.
David Adelaide.
He's got a good Adelaide. He's got a puncher's chance. Aye. David Abiyan was the guy. William Abiyan. Scott Harrison fought.
I remember that.
That name come be. He was number one featherweight contender. Scott Stockton.
WBO. Yeah, I remember that. Right, Billy. Before you get completely punch drunk, I better let you go.